That's not something I'd experienced before, and I think I kept trying to tell myself it was normal. Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below before you go. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I typically do daily vlogs. This video is going to be a little different. You guys can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about my postpartum journey this time around, which is a lot different than my previous postpartum periods. So no big intro, let's just talk about it. So first, I want to state that I have been pregnant 3 times, 3 full-term births, and I've had 3 postpartum experiences. The first postpartum experience was with Levi. Honestly, I can't tell what was postpartum depression and what was just depression because of the stillbirth. So I just can't really compare that one other than like postpartum hair loss and like that type of stuff. So mentally I'm not really gonna talk about that one. But with Jackson and Cohen, I noticed some very big differences and some things that kind of stand out as a red flag to me this time around. Before I do continue, I do want to mention that I do plan on speaking to a doctor about the things that I'm experiencing or how my postpartum is this time around, just because I do want the clarification if it's not, like if it's normal, if it's not normal, if I need help, that type of stuff. I just don't have a family doctor. Well, I have a family doctor, but my family doctor is kind of a joke. So I don't trust him, especially for something of this serious of a diagnosis. So I am looking into options of who I can speak to. I don't know if a walk-in clinic can do that, but that's my next call. I want to talk to somebody and see what's going on. So nothing is diagnosed, and I'm not claiming for it to be. With that being said, let's start talking about the stuff. I've seen a ton of people talk about postpartum depression, especially being in the mom community. It's not something I personally experienced with Nuggie. I do, however, think I am going through something this time around, and I'm not sure if that is postpartum depression or if it's NICU trauma. I'm not sure if it's postpartum anxiety or if it's NICU trauma, and that's where I'm having a hard time deciphering if I do need help. But I've come to the realization that whether it is postpartum depression and anxiety or if it's postpartum or not NICU trauma, they both need to be addressed and they both need to be taken care of. So I've come to that point now. So recently I have realized that I am anxious about absolutely everything, and anxiety is not new to me. I have suffered with anxiety my entire life. It's not something that like just comes and goes. I suffer with anxiety every single day, mostly social anxiety, phone calls, that type of stuff, but this is different. This is world controlling anxiety. It stops me from doing anything. I can't even shower if Dante's not home, and I know that that sounds so dramatic because you guys are gonna sit there and be like, it's a shower, like it's fine, don't be gross, but like I literally cannot bring myself to do it. I'm scared. Like I am so scared to leave him in his crib by himself and be in the shower because the water will be running and I don't know if I'll hear him, and what if something does happen? He's rolling over in his sleep now, so what if he lays on his face and he can't breathe? And it's a lot, and I know that that sounds so dramatic because saying it out loud makes me feel crazy, but that's the kind of stuff that goes into my, like, through my head when it comes time for that. So I won't do it unless Dante's home, and Dante doesn't have to sit in there with him, but I have to know that Dante's capable of getting him if I'm in the shower and can't get out fast enough. Might be dramatic, that's fine, but that is just genuinely how I feel. I don't like going anywhere. I don't like bringing the kids out. I'm scared in the car. I'm scared of accidents. I'm scared everything. Like that's a really big difference, where for Nuggie, it was really different because I had Nuggie in 2020, so peak, like December of 2020, so it was like the peak of COVID, and I didn't feel this way. We obviously limited who was allowed to be around him because we didn't want him to catch COVID, but I wasn't like anxious like this, and that's where I think I really realized that it might be a problem and I do need to talk to somebody. I'm just having a hard time deciphering if it's from the NICU because of everything we went through when he did go to the NICU, with not like being able to bring him home and like something potentially happening, and then like he had a pocket of air compressing his lungs, so like I'm not sure if that's where I'm like going, oh my god, is he going to be able to breathe? Even though I've been assured by his pediatrician he would not have effects from him being in the NICU now. Everything's fine, that's all healed and whatever else. If anything were to happen, knock on wood, it would not be from the NICU. It would be something entirely different. It's still something that sits in my brain like, okay, but what if you were wrong? And that's an issue, I think. I used to be on antidepressants for anxiety, and I stopped taking them when I got pregnant with Levi because I didn't want, you know, whatever. So I stopped taking them then, and I have been recently thinking about going back on them to see if it's helpful. I'm just scared of what it's going to do to my milk supply. I'm scared of what it's going to do for Coco because I have anxiety. But I realized that it's not healthy for me to live like this. It's really taking a toll on my mental health because I don't trust anyone other than Dante with him. And it's making it incredibly hard to do anything, to be my own person, to mentally it's taken a big toll. I can't keep being anxious like this. With postpartum depression, I definitely think I'm struggling a little bit mentally there, but like I said before, I'm not sure if it's really linked to the NICU or if it's linked to the anxiety and the mental toll that that's taking on me. But I definitely find myself getting more frustrated with Coco when he's upset than I ever did with Jackson. And it's not like I'm ever like angry at him and I don't have thoughts of like hurting him or like myself, which I've heard is what like postpartum depression typically is. And I don't have those kind of feelings, but I definitely get very frustrated, very overwhelmed, very angry. And I'm not angry with him, I'm just angry at it all, the entire situation. So if he is a good baby. He, like, Nuggie was a superior baby. He was like slept through the night at 2 months old and like barely cried unless he was hungry. So like he was like, you can't ask for a better baby, you know. And Cohen's not bad. He sleeps. He slept through the night. He's not sleeping fully through the night, but he has slept through the night. I'm pretty well rested. At night he does sleep between 5 and 6 hours most of the time, but on the nights where he's having a harder night and he doesn't go down, I find myself getting angry at the situation if I'm not going down. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm tired. I'm not sure if that's because I really don't know, hence the talking to a doctor. But I don't think it's postpartum depression just because I'm not like thinking of hurting myself or hurting him. I don't really know what goes into postpartum depression. Like I said, I've never experienced it, but I definitely do think it is worth talking to somebody. And then I definitely feel like I need to talk to somebody about the NICU trauma. That is something that's really been bothering me a lot. The NICU brought up a lot of trauma with Levi. Not being able to take him home the first night when I got discharged brought up trauma from Levi because we had to leave him at the hospital. Seeing him hooked up to all the tubes, the thought of potentially losing him. There was just like a lot that went into that, and it created a lot of trauma. But there was just a lot of things that went from the NICU that we experienced there that brought up things from Levi that I thought I had dealt with and I thought was like in the past, that I had like moved on from and like grown from. But I've come to realize I have not. I thought I did. I did not. It feels brand new. And I'm not sure if that sparks my fears, and that's where like the trauma like comes from. Or sorry, not where the trauma comes from. I'm not sure if that's where like the anxiety comes from, like the traumas combined, because I get like the trauma from him, but then I also have the trauma from Levi. So I'm not sure if that's the case. Another thing I'm really struggling with is my weight. I'm currently the lowest I have been since before I had Levi. The issue with that, I know it sounds like a good thing, but the issue with that is the fact that I struggled with an eating disorder all throughout my teenage years. And when I got pregnant with Levi, it kind of forced me to get better. The NICU, I didn't really eat a lot. It was not my main priority. I didn't intentionally not eat. It was just between walking back and forth to the hospital and the Ronald McDonald house. Walking back and forth that like 5-6 times a day was a lot of exercise. Even if it was only a block away, we were still walking through the hospital. We did a lot of standing in the NICU too, but then with eating less than what I probably should have, just from stress. And then when I was pregnant with Cohen, I was so sick I couldn't keep food down, and it was just, there was a lot of things that went into it. Since getting back, like since having him home, I really haven't had much of an appetite, which has resulted in a lot of weight loss and a lot of not necessarily milk supply production, because Cohen's getting what he wants, but I'm not really making anything more than that. So if he decides that he's like extra hungry, then I'm not, that really hasn't happened, but I'm scared for that. I want him to get as much nutrients as possible, but I eat like 1 meal a day, and I'm really like, that's something I'm really trying to work on. But it's brought back past triggers, and I'm really trying to work through that, and I'm really trying to deal with that as well. So that's also something I'm going to be seeking help for, because I don't want to do that again. So mentally draining that I'm so disappointed in myself for getting to this spot that I'm in now with all of it. But the only thing we can do instead of beating ourselves up is recognize it, move on from it, and that is what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to make sure I'm eating 3 meals a day. I'm trying to make sure I'm having some snacks, that I'm drinking my water, that I'm doing the things I need to be doing to keep me healthy, because in order to keep Cohen healthy, I need to keep me 100% healthy. But that is something else I have been struggling with in the last handful of months. I think I was trying to convince myself that these things weren't problems and that they were normal, so that I didn't have to deal with them. Because if you guys have been following, a lot has happened in the last 5 months, from me no longer talking to certain family members, to Cohen in the NICU, and just trauma, and I've just had a lot of big life changes. And I think I was just trying to tell myself that it was normal, so it was something I didn't have to deal with. But it's gotten to the point where it's just getting too hard to deal with on my own, which is like something I've always done. I've literally always dealt with things myself. So now having to actually like extend out and ask for help and get the help that I think I'm gonna need, or that I think I'm needing, was really hard to accept and to recognize. But I think better things are on the other side of the hill now that I have accepted it. It's just more going to be a matter of finding someone I can get this process started with. I'm hoping a walk-in doctor can do it, because that's pretty much all I have here. But if you guys have any recommendations on who I could talk to get that process started, your experiences, let me know in the comments, and I will read all of them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in a much happier vlog. Bye guys.